1 second, I'm measuring my Pokemon. Okay, I'm done. Hello, I am Professor Oak. I am Samuel's little brother, and I specialize in the culture and history of the doomed world. Yes, the doomed world is a parallel dimension which is pretty much similar to ours, except that Pokemon don't exist there. I know, crazy. Crazy. Imagine you could not be a Pokemon trainer if you lived there. You'd probably be unemployed. Anyway, it is quite fascinating indeed, and as a matter of fact, well, even though our Pokemon don't exist there, each Pokemon has its equivalent, whether it's a plant, an animal, a legend, a mushroom. Yes, it does exist. It does have some other form in the other world, in the doomed world. That's how we call it. And today I will show you how some of our Pokemon manage to exist in that other dimension. Yes. So some of our Pokemon exist there as plants or fungi or animals. Yes, it's true. I mean, okay. Let me give you a simple example. Let's take a look at Vileplume. Vileplume's flower is said to have the largest petals on Earth. Yes, I'm not kidding. And its pollen is supposedly very toxic and putrid. Well, guess what? It exists in the doomed world somehow, yes. In the doomed world, there's a tiny island that resembles Alola. Yes. I don't know if you're familiar with Alola, but anyways, it's very similar to Alola, and that island is called Sumatra. Now, in Sumatra's rainforest, there is a mushroom called the Rafflesia Arnoldii. Yes. The mushroom is also known as the corpse flower. Why? Because its scent is similar to that of decaying flesh. Yes, so this mushroom is what we call a parasitic mushroom, as it drains the nutrient from another plant in order to survive and, yes, killing that other plant. Anyway, Vileplume is not the only Pokemon that exists in the Doom world. It was just an example to show you that Pokemon actually kind of exists too in that other dimension, except they're not Pokemon. Let's take another example. Let's look at Victreebel, the glass/poison type Pokemon. You know how Victreebel always tries to eat James? You know James from the Team Rocket? Yes, everyone knows him. Yeah, well, in the Doom world, there is a plant that is carnivorous as well. It is called the pitcher plant. Yes, the pitcher plant. And, well, the plant actually devours insects, and she lures them in. Well, the plant lures them in with a sweet scent, a sweet perfume, a sweet odor, and then the liquid of the plant dissolves the insect by breaking its organ and its skin. But the scariest part is that some breed of that plant feed on larger animals like snakes and birds. Yes, sounds like Victreebel to me. Besides, let's not forget that Victreebel's hidden ability is gluttony. See, in both words, they love eating live things. Anyway, that's enough about that. Let's now talk about something that is much more interesting than the plants of the doomed world. They're all doomed to die anyway. Let's talk about Pokemon that exists as legends in the Doom world, because it's so much more interesting. And we'll start with one of my favorite Pokemon. No, not that one. Gyarados. Yes, where does Gyarados live in the Doomed world? Actually, its natural habitat and the only place you can basically find it is in a strange, vast land where you are not allowed to joke about the government on your Pokédex. Yes, this land is called China. China is such a bizarre country, I hear. You know, not long ago, I think their president basically self-proclaimed himself the king. Anyway, we're not here to discuss politics, we're here to talk about Gyarados and its existence in the Doom world. So yes, in China, there's a saying, there's a metaphor that goes: the carp has leaped through the dragon gates. I think in their language, which is called the Chinese language, it is Liu Jia Long Men, and yes, basically it means the carp that leaps through the dragon's gate. And so in in Chinese mythology, there is a gate that is situated at the top of a waterfall which cascades from a mysterious magic mountain, obviously. And while dragons, especially Chinese dragons, are legendary creatures that resemble our Gyarados a lot. Yes, so many carp swim upstream, the strong current and of the river. And sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes one is brave enough to actually jump over the waterfall, to actually enter the mountain. And the legend says that the carp that is brave enough to do so will be turned into a magnificent dragon. Does it ring a bell? Well, yes, of course, yes. Well, Magikarp can become Gyarados, and in the Doom world, a carp can become a dragon. I mean, it's the same story, it's the same thing, except that it actually happens in our world, and it's amazing. And in their world, it's just a story. Yes. Anyway, in China, the Chinese dragons are symbols of magical and benevolent power. So the image of a weak carp leaping over the magical waterfall is a cultural symbol of strength, perseverance, and bravery. Yes. And actually, in Chinese, the expression Liu Jia Long Men is a metaphor which was used to designate someone who passed the imperial examinations back in the days, which were known for being, really, really difficult. And the metaphor is still in use today when a student who comes from, a remote Chinese village that no one cares about passes the national university examination. Everyone is proud of them, of him or her, and call them Liu Jia Long Men. Yes, how nice, isn't it? Yes, that our Gyarados managed to live on with such a powerful meaning in the doomed world. Now, our Gyarados here has legends of his own as well. It is said that during times of human conflict, Gyarados will appear suddenly and burn city to the ground. Yes, he does have destructive tendencies, but yes, he just hated when people fight. Now, Gyarados is not the only Pokemon that exists as a legend in the Doom world. Do you know the human-shaped Pokemon? Yes, that's right. Jinx is a female-only species Pokemon, and it has the shape of a woman, not like myself because I'm a man. So in the Doom world, Jinx exists in a small and powerful land that resemble our Kanto, and it is called Japan. Yes, Japan. And in Japan, there are some legends that seem to be the manifestation of Jinx in the parallel world. The first legend is the legend of Yama Uba. Yama Uba is a yokai or a witch that takes the appearance of a kind old woman wearing a dirty, hideous, tattered kimono. So, Yama Uba lived in the forest or in the mountain. They were once humans, but they were transformed into monsters according to some legends. So they are said to be living in the mountains alone, abandoned in huts by the roads, and they offer shelter to lost travelers. And at night, when the traveler is sleeping, they transform into an evil witch and try to eat their flesh. So yes, and other legends describe Yamauba as young women who were accused of crimes and had to exile into the forest. As they grow old and abandoned, they have very strong resentment, so these women transform into monsters and practice black magic and end up feeding on humans again. Yes, there's so many different legends about Yama-uba. In one of the legends that I actually like the most, she is considered the forest goddess. Yes, half human, half spirit, and she's said to have raised the hero Kintaro. Kintaro, yes, do you know him? Well, Kintaro is basically a folk hero in the Japanese culture. So he's this little boy who has a supernatural force, superhuman strength, and he befriends animals in the forest. It's super cute. Anyway, yeah, so Yama-uba raised him. We don't know whether Yama-uba is his mother or his adoptive mother, but like according to some legend, she one night dreams of a red dragon, maybe a shiny Gyarados, and awakes to find herself pregnant. I know, virgin birth, a classic in the doomed world. They love it. And in other versions of the tale, she finds Kintaro, who was abandoned, and she raises him to gain supernatural powers. So, you know, it's up to your choosing of the tale, like whatever you think is best, you may believe in. Another belief about Yama-uba is that if you help her give birth, you will be blessed with good fortune. There's an old legend from Nagano, which is a place in Japan, where two brothers encounter a woman giving birth, and the older brother helps the woman, who ends up giving birth to 78,000 children, quite a lot. And then the older brother is blessed with hunting success. Yes, so in other stories, a tale from Tokushima, which is another place in Japan, I think that Yama-uba is touched once by a man, just once, and she become pregnant just from his touch with 80,000 babies. And quite a lot. Anyway, there are so many tales in which a mountain goddess give birth to countless children. So it seems like Yama-uba was deeply linked to fertility, yes, at that time. Now I believe Yama-uba is deeply connected to our jinx in our world, but there is also another legend which could be related to jinx as well. There is the legend of Yuki Onna, the snow woman, and that's a completely different legend. The first legend about Yuki Onna dates from the Muromachi period, which was a long time ago. A monk writes about his encounter with Yuki Onna, and according to him, he saw her on a snowy morning, standing in his garden, and she was 10 feet tall, and her skin was really white, like almost transparent, like white like snow. She was so white that it seemed like she was blending into the snowy landscape. When the monk tried to approach her and talk to her, she suddenly disappeared. So yes, but later on he understood that she was the spirit of snow. But there are many legends that surround Yuki Onna, just like Yama-uba. Yuki Onna, well, some of the legends describe her as a water beggar. So in this legend, she just goes around asking everyone for water, hot or cold. And I think that if you give her cold water, she will become bigger and taller. And if you give her hot water, she will melt and disappear. Now there's another legend about Yuki Onna in which she is a moon princess, and in this version, so she lives on the moon, and she's a princess, and she's very rich, and she's very bored, and she's very interested with the doom world. She looks down on the earth, and she dreams of going there. So one night she sneaks out of her lunar palace, and she jumps on snow, and thanks to the snow she manages to land on earth. And then she lives in a doom world, but then she realizes that she can't go back up because the snow only comes down, doesn't go back up. Anyway, it's quite sad. And then my personal favorite tale of Yuki Onna is the tale in which she is a snow vampire. In this tale, she feeds on Seiki. Seiki is the energy of the human body, and basically she's, wandering in the snowy forest, and she finds lost travelers and suck their soul through their mouth, probably kissing them. And I think that this version of Yuki Onna, this snow vampire, resembles Jinx the most, given the fact that Jinx is an ice / psychic type Pokemon, and that Jinx's signature move is Lovely Kiss. I mean, that's pretty much the same thing. Now, the next Pokemon I will talk about is Ghastly. Ghastly is an adorable ghost poison type Pokemon, and in the Doomed World folklore, it is known as Sogenbi. Sogenbi is a kind of fireball spirit, and he looks like an angry old man's head covered in flames. Now, the legend of Sogenbi is the following. Long time ago in a Kyoto temple, it's a place in Japan, there lived a monk named Sogen. And that monk was not a very good monk. He was actually quite bad, because he used to steal the offerings from his temple. Like every time someone would offer or donate money to the temple, Sogen would just take it, steal it, sell it, and profit from it. So he had quite a decent life just profiting from his temple, until the day he died. And I believe he died a normal death, just, he died of old age. But then he was reborn in hell to pay for his sins, and that's why he's a floating, flaming head. Anyway, another version of the story is that he was punished because he used too much oil in his life. So because he was using too much oil, he was punished and came back and was reborn as a burning head. But I don't know which one is true. It's really up to you which one you prefer. Now, Ghastly is not made out of fire. He's made out of gas, obviously. So it's not certain that Sogenbi and Ghastly are completely related. But I still think that they are quite alike, considering they're both spirits in the shape of a flying head, and they're both quite cheeky. Now, the last Pokemon I will talk about is Drowsy. Drowsy is a psychic tapir-looking Pokemon who can put people to sleep and eat their dreams through their nose. Now, Drowsy directly exists in the Japanese folklore and is known as Baku. Baku are supernatural beings that devour dreams too, so it's basically the exact same story. So, Bakus are represented with a bear body, an elephant nose, tiger feet, rhinoceros eyes, and an oxen tail. They actually watch over humans during their sleep and feed on their nightmares, which is why evil and bad spirits are actually afraid of Baku and hide from them. And the interesting thing is that Baku originate from the Chinese folklore, actually. Yes. The land I was talking about before, the one with that Gyarados come from in the parallel world, yes. So, but the thing is that in the Chinese legend, Baku was an animal which was hunted for its pelt, as it was believed it had magical powers and would chase the evil spirits away. When the legend crossed over to Japan, well, Baku became a dream eater. So, more similar to our Drowsy. And anyway, it is said that if a child wakes up from a bad dream, he should say 3 times, he should repeat 3 times, Baku-san, come eat my dream. How cute. And apparently, to this day, Japanese children keep a Baku talisman by their bed to protect them from bad dreams. Imagine if kids here kept a Drowsy by their side before going to sleep. Cute or creepy? Cute. Now, I think we're done for today because, well, I have a lot of work to do and I can't just, spend my day telling you about things like that. That was a lot of information, and I know you just received your first Pokemon, so good luck in your quest. If you're interested in knowing more, feel free to join my Doomed World class, during which we discuss the tradition and legends of this parallel world that no one knows of or care about. Thank you for coming here today. Good luck in becoming the league champion or the world master or whatever. And say hi to my brother when you see him. Bye.